Greetings, blood bowlers, and welcome to the All or Nuffle podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Blood Bowl. Just a quick disclaimer, before this episode, me and Steve decided at the last minute to start recording this because we jumped on a call to have a little bit of a chat about Bugman's Belter while we were painting up some Blood Bowl miniatures. So there's not really much structure. It's kind of just two mates having a chat. We decided to record. So forgive the lack of structure and maybe at times the lack of professionalism. Because like I say, just two friends shooting the shit, having a chat. So yeah, enjoy. So we're literally today a week out from Bugman's, mate. What are your feelings at this stage? Are we scared? Are we excited? Are we apprehensive?
I feel I'm very excited because it's going to be something that's different. I've never competed in anything like this before, so obviously come from a sports background and generally, always being prepared, plenty of training beforehand, any competition and stuff like that. Whereas this one is completely going in blind. So yeah, I wouldn't say I don't know actually. I'm a bit apprehensive, but not too worried. I think it's going to hit me on the drive up how underprepared I might be. I think come next week. So yeah. No, it's one of them. Well, right now I just need to finish painting the team. I've been reading up the rule books. I've done everything, but I think, as you know, it comes down to actually playing and getting on the pitch, and I'm not ready for that yet.
Like you said, mate, it's I think a big aspect to it is going to be who you come up against, because obviously you are going in. Let's be honest. Underprepared is an accurate word for it.
Oh, massively underprepared.
And do you know what you're going to encounter? Three types of people, or one of these three types of people. Maybe we're playing 3 games. It's a 3-rounder. You could encounter one in each round. You're going to encounter a player who you explain you knew and is going to be really helpful and really encouraging, and you're going to have a really nice experience with them.
Yeah.
The second type is you're going to find somebody who realizes you know and thinks, oh, brilliant, what an opportunity to noob stomp. And the third one, and I don't want to feed into any anxiety or anything, but the third one, I think you might actually find an opponent that is maybe a little bit annoyed at you for coming to a tournament with such little experience.
I mean, the thing is like...
And I think it would come from a good place, though. I think because you're a new player and this person's come to play competitively and they find out you sort of have them wrestling with their moral compass as what to do. So I would imagine they'll be a little bit frustrated.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like I think in my intro, I said my intro, I have thought about this, where I'm just going to be like, look, I'm new, but don't hold back. Play your game as you play your game, I'm in here to learn, and if it means I get stomped, I get stomped, And I think some of the best lessons I've ever learned in anything I've ever done, this goes back to just even work or playing rugby, I've turned up and played higher tier rugby and not being prepared, and I've been owned, and it learnt me a lesson. But
yeah. Genuinely is that trial by fire, isn't it? Like that is in no uncertain terms literally what you're doing, because you've played no proper games of Blood Bowl. I think you said you played against your kids to try and get your heads around it, and no disrespect to your children, but I would imagine the people at Bugman's might be just a little bit better than them.
Literally, my kids would just get my head around the rules, but they are going to be. The thing is, they're going to be good people. Well, I'd like to think they're going to be good. Obviously, I've set my own target of I just want to have scored a touchdown. If I can score, is it touchdown? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just checking before. I'm like, yay, touchdown. They're like,
whoa, we are far more lost than I realised.
I'm just there so when do I do the conversion?
Start lining them up for a kick.
He's offside. No, it's
brilliant.
But it's that kind of thing. The thing is it's I need to experience it This is another thing that I find with the game, like even trying to, because I was there trying to get people to play. Now I have a couple of teams, like, and I've got loads of unpainted teams or half painted teams, but enough to field a couple of teams on the pitch, like, and I was trying to get people to play with me down here. It's just like, look, I've got everything, like, fancy game that doesn't take too long, like, it'll be an hour and a half, 2 hours for us messing around learning the rules, and no one was interested. So it's just like, oh shit.
Like, no, see that's the thing with Blood Bowl. It's got its community exists in like pockets.
Yeah,
and I'm just fortunate enough that I happen to live in an area where there's I'm not literally going to count people, but I think there's around in my immediate area 20 plus players.
Oh, nice. So there is a league. There is basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm running a league at the minute. It's only a 10-man league because we tried recruiting people just before Christmas, so people had their mind elsewhere. But 10-man league, and we've run bigger stuff in past. So I just so happen to live in one of these little bubbles of plenty of people play Blood Bowl. But I see plenty of comments, especially on my TikTok videos, where some people saying, I would love to try Blood Bowl, no players in my area. And do you know what? Surprisingly, even though Blood Bowl is essentially fantasy American football, it's always the Americans who say they struggle for players more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, constantly. And I've had comments like, oh, I would love to play this, no players in upstate New York, or no players out where I live in Arizona. Like, they are the group of people who I hear from most saying that they cannot get people like anybody to play it with them.
That's mad. Because you would think...
Yeah, interesting, because...
it's their sport.
Exactly.
Right. It's a paint bottle, ultimately.
But then I think you've also got like another thing with Blood Bowl is, and this might sound like I'm maybe being a little bit stereotypical towards geeks and nerds, but so many people are put off because it's a sports game.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost as if people live within this mindset of, well, I didn't play sports when I was at school or anything. I just played Warhammer 40k, so why would I play a sports tabletop game? And like, I think I did a TikTok about 2 years back when I started. In fact, it was one of the first TikToks that I did that got like, I think it got over 10k views, and it was something like along the lines of like, tell me you know nothing about Blood Bowl without telling me you know nothing about Blood Bowl. And I said, I'll go first. You refuse to play it because you think it's anything like a real world sport, and it got like that. Was one of my early videos that got quite a lot of it. In fact, I think I got to 1,000 followers to that video, and it's like I have genuinely heard it as like a reason, like, nope, I don't like sports. It's like, bro, if you think turning up to play Blood Bowl is going to be like being asked to watch and sit and watch 90 minutes of football, you could not be more mistaken.
No, it's fun. It is fun. Like, the whole thing is fun. But yeah, no, I get you. I do get you. I think like, it's that thing. I mean, also like, I am in the area where the Blood Bowl podcast. What's that other one?
The Bonehead lads.
Yeah, those guys. They're in the New Forest, so they're around the corner from me, and they play down at the local club. At the club that I don't like playing that bit. So, but it's again, it's that kind of thing. Like, I didn't want to get involved down there. I know they travelled down to play down this way. I mean, also, just so you know, like Beachhead is on this weekend as well. This weekend that we're going. Yeah. So, I mean, that
I personally think that date was intentional.
What, the Blood Bowl one?
Yeah, because they're doing their the guys at Bonehead are doing their tournament, like you say, same time as as the Bugman. And I don't know. I think that might have been by design. Maybe to... Well, I don't know if you were... Because obviously we got the email the other day from Games Workshop to say that they're using Toeplay. I'm assuming you've not had a chance to have a look yet.
No, I did have a look, and I had obviously the thing like you... I had a look and I saw your post as well on TikTok, where it actually works with NAF as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, which... we'll talk about that in a second because that's a massive development. But they've actually, whether they've done it on purpose or not, they've given us a little bit of extra information by using Toeplay because it tells you how many people are in the tournament, how many slots they've provided for it. Do you want to hazard a guess if you didn't see it?
Oh no, I didn't see it at all. So no, I've no idea. I was expecting there'd be like, well, I don't know, like 60 people. I don't know. I'm thinking there. Am I near?
80.
80. Nice.
80. It's
Still
an 80 manner. Oh,
So-
God, yeah. And I don't know if you've been to the Eventbrite page again. Like, usually, when tickets have been sold out for a little bit, if there's been any refunds or whatever, they usually show them as, like, X amount available. But
Yeah.
right from when we purchased them on that night to, like, now, it's not changed from sold out. So it looks like it's going to be a full house. They do have quite a few people. I don't know if you've ever been to a Games Workshop event, but there will be people who have prepaid for a ticket to be on basically the bench in case people don't turn up.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there
no,
will
not-
literally be there'll be people rocking up on day who've paid for a ticket, they've brought the team with them just to hang around and hope somebody doesn't turn up. And I think they might be shit out of luck because I think it's going to be a full house.
Yeah. No, I think it's sold so quickly. It's because I was looking at the Warhammer events, and there's still spaces on lots of things like until the week before or the 2 weeks before, And I just found it very interesting, that one. Because to be honest with you, if we didn't sit on to buy it that that night, if I wasn't doing it with you, I was like, pick it up the next day. If I didn't know it was that day, we wouldn't be going. So
No, mate, I seriously, I was gonna wait because it was a couple of days before payday.
yeah,
I was gonna wait until payday, and it weren't until I had laptop open and my mum phoned me or FaceTimed me, sorry, and she just asked me what I were doing. I said, we're looking at tickets for so and so, see how much they're going to be on payday. And she just said, I'll send you some money over and you can use some of what I was going to give you in your card for your birthday for it.
Yeah.
So if it weren't for that, I almost certainly wouldn't be going because I was going to wait 3 days before I bought my ticket.
I lost you there. Sorry, you said your mum sent money over, and then
Yeah. My mum just said, I'll send you some of the money over that I was going to put in your birthday card because it weren't too far from my birthday. So if it weren't for my mum doing that, I was going to wait 3 days for it anyway.
Yeah.
So I definitely wouldn't have been going.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, the thing is, again, you got more experience at events at Warhammer as opposed to me. It's all new to me what's going on and how things are going to pan out. So no, I find it interesting how. Well, I'm interested how things will go. What will turn up? People will go. Yeah, just the entire thing. I don't think I'll get nervous till I turn up, and then I will get nervous, and then when I get to the first game, and I'm like, hey.
What am I doing?
I don't play much. And that's when one of them's like, my mate was waiting ages to get a ticket and you've taken that seat.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, not that it matters, but I'm interested to see what the scrutineering's like and all this kind of stuff. You hear a lot about it. So I'm interested.
Well, I'm not going to say too much about that because, as you know, I'm painting this Nurgle team right now in front of you, and this Nurgle team was meant to be coming to Warhammer World for Bugman's Belt, and I'm not going to say why it's not until afterwards, just in case. But me and you have spoke privately, and you know why, and obviously that's the level of scrutiny that I think we can expect, or we could go and it could have just been a total urban myth and everything will be fine and I'll kick myself for not having brought my Nurgle team.
It just sounds, it's so funny. I've had so many conversations with so many different people about it, about the scrutineering, how things are, and it's a mix of things, isn't it? Because obviously, if you play local and you've got your own little hobby club, it doesn't matter. And then people are like, well, who plays at Warhammer events? I was like, well, actually, there's still a bit of a charm of playing at a Warhammer event, isn't it? It's still, to me,
yeah,
it's just not nice.
It's the exact same. It's the exact same as if you were playing for a Sunday League football team, and you win a local tournament and you get to play the final in the local championship side's stadium.
Yeah.
It's still that sort of like, ooh, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I find it's so it's just that I find it interesting. I mean, you could go over for days and days. I still get a bit annoyed by it because obviously I grew up in the hobby in the days of, you can make anything, and it worked but obviously as it now gets bigger, I understand as a business, they got to do X, Y, and Z. But yeah, it's just, I think it's just going to be interesting to see how it all pans out on the day. It's, I like to see,
Yeah.
I'd like to see what the setup is. I'd like to see how they scrutinise and how they do all of this kind of thing. Just purely just out of interest, more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, am I right in thinking that as we speak, you are painting your Imperial Nobility team for Bugman's?
I am right now painting all the off-white colours.
Am I right in thinking that you have used the team that I built for you to cut down on painting?
Yes. Also, I've got to spray up one more mini, but I have. I've you sent me two, and I was like, oh, cool, that's easy. And I was like, oh, that's that one. Oh, I'm going to do that one. So,
see, the thing with Imperial Nobility is you could have taken the 4 bodyguards.
Yeah.
100%. And a lot of people probably would have, because one of the main things about Imperial Nobility is they're a fantastic board control team. Not so much out of the box, but with a couple of extra skills, they become quite the nuisance. They're basically the human team with more board control.
Mm-hmm.
And starting with 4 bodyguards would have made the board control already better. However, the reason that I dropped it down to 2 is mainly because it cut down on your painting, given how short of a time we've got until event, and it allowed you to go into it with 4 rerolls, which, as a new player, I thought was a lot kinder than 2 rerolls.
I think I'm going to be leaning heavy into the rerolls on the competition day. And the thing is, it's going to be one of those things. I think I'm going to be doing it because I'm going to be. I know myself. I'm going to do some risky things. I am. So, and the thing is, I just want to. I want to get out there and have fun. I want to see what the community and what the people are like. If you're anything to go by, I'm sure I'm going to have a good time. As long as it's not the 40k.
Well,
community.
like I say. Oh God, yeah! Don't even get me started. There's very few properly unpleasant experiences I've ever had in Blood Bowl. The worst I've ever had is people maybe being poor winners a little bit.
Yeah.
But that is honestly as bad as it's ever got. I have heard some people who've had some proper horror stories, in fact, not too far from me. So NAF's official South Yorkshire Blood Bowl League. I'm not going to name the individual, but there's a gentleman who is. I don't know if he runs it or he's quite high up in the organisation of stuff for NAF's South Yorkshire division.
Mm-hmm.
Who I heard he literally threw a handful of blood balls. So one of these.
Yeah.
Just launched it across a room because he were refereeing an event and a player questioned his ruling and turned out to be right. It could be horseshit. It could be just one of those stupid urban myths where maybe there were a disagreement and somebody's just exaggerated it to this huge kickoff.
Yeah.
But you do, I think we spoke about it last time we were on an episode with Drew. You do hear these urban myths, and it's important to always take them with a bit of a pinch of salt. But for the most part, mate, the Blood Bowl community is quite a wholesome community.
No, everything that I hear about him, even when I hear Bonehead's coverage of the World Cup, I was listening to all their stuff, and even they were saying how the games were over there, and then you listen to other podcasts about how other people play against certain other people and different things and different game settings, and how much more fruity, should I say, people get, and you're just
yeah.
Whereas the Boneheads were saying, it was a good time. Everyone was good. Everyone who was there were good. People we played with were good. Everyone had a good time. Which is nice to hear that. So
yeah,
as opposed to you hear just people getting really salty about stuff and it's just.
I think the thing about Blood Bowl is people sort of It's literally like people turn up to see and meet other people who play Blood Bowl, and then maybe we'll get a gaming in between.
I'm looking forward to it, especially with the everything with watching the game later. It's a later time we're doing it. It's a whole day up there. I'm looking forward to all of it really. So, and obviously it's my first time. It's my virginity for going to Warhammer World as well. So
it's fantastic. It really is. Like, I know it sounds really like cliche, but it is very much a pilgrimage, really.
Yeah.
Because like all these models we buy, all these paints we buy, just a little town / city or whatever Nottingham is in middle of England, and now it's like, just look at how big it is. It's almost, as an Englishman, it almost makes you like kind of proud. Like, yeah, everybody around the world wants to come here because they love the games, and it's just down the road from me. Well, not for you.
I mean, the thing is, trust me, there is. So I mean, I'm Irish, but I get because I live down in Poole. I get very proud of what's been made in Poole or what's been done. Like, as a country, what's gone nationwide. Like Lush, Lush, that company that started in Poole. The headquarters are in Poole. Barclays for a while.
Oh, very nice.
Down here. Then it's Sunseekers are all built. Those boats are all built down in Poole, and. Silly little things. I'm like, yeah, that company's. But even like that, we're not in them. When you see stuff like it's in the Las Vegas Open and all that kind of stuff, and we're like, yep, Englishmen made that.
Oh, don't even get me started. It pisses me off that all best reveals happen at Opens in fucking America.
I mean,
it annoys me so much.
The thing is, I can see why they do it. I get it, because obviously, there's a lot more going on over there than there is here. But yeah, it's still I get you. I'm not 100% on that. I'd love it if they just did the reveals over here, and I'm pretty sure the guys who work in the offices over here would be like, "Why don't you just do it here?"
Yeah. Oh, got to catch another flight over to Las Vegas. I mean, no, actually, they're probably getting it bankrolled. They're probably loving it.
Yeah. I think there's one of the lives that they're doing. There was some of the guys, not the lives, one of the reveals that they're doing. Those guys over in England just in a studio, staying up stupidly late to do the UK side of it, and they were just like, yeah, we're knackered. We were just up there just knackered. We should have just gone over there and enjoyed ourselves. So
no, exactly.
But no, it's good. So how are you feeling about it? You looking forward to it? Because you're taking Wood Elves, aren't you?
I am taking Wood Elves, mate. And to be honest with you, like, I suffer with a lot of the time, and this is purely not to like talk shit about TikTok, but it is purely the fault of TikTok. But I suffer with not anxiety, but I worry sometimes that people think because my username is Blood Bowl Baz and that I post exclusively Blood Bowl content, that I'm somehow professing I'm like an amazing player who can take anybody on, and it's just so not the case. Like I get beat just as much as anybody. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I always worry when I put content up. Like the amount of times I've disclaimed content, I'm not the best player in the world. I'm just knowledgeable about the rules because I'm passionate about the game. So yeah, I think for me, I'm going to be treating it more as like a benchmarking experience. There's some really, really there's even some I won't go as far as say famous, but there are some recognizable names from Blood Bowl community going to Bugman's. So it's a good opportunity to see where I'm at in my skill set, depending on who I play.
Yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be rooting yourself. And you got a few other guys going up as well, haven't you?
I've got, one of them actually can't go anymore. He's sold his ticket on, but yeah, me and my friend Jason will be travelling down together because he lives 15 minutes away from me. So yeah, we'll be travelling down together. He's taking the Norse team, bless him. They're a great team, but I can't cope with all that frenzy that they've got. It destroys my brain.
Yeah. So no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meeting some people, throwing some dice, and I mean, I've got three and a half, 3 or 3/4 hour drive to get up there. So that'll be good.
Is that all it is? I thought it'd be more than that.
I'm going to be leaving early. I'm just going to be setting off early, trying to get ahead of the traffic where I can, and then just get on the road and go. It's not horrendous. Like, you know, it'll be a couple of stops and I'll be up there. When does it all start? What time does it start again? Can you remember?
Registration is from 12:30 to 1:30. Is it?
Yeah. So no, I'm thinking I'm going to be on the road at 7 to try and get up there. It'll be 7 o'clock. I'll be leaving to try and get there an hour before all of that, just so I can settle in a bit. And then the first game doesn't happen for a little while, though, does it?
I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember. Did you end up booking a hotel?
Not yet.
Not yet. You madman.
You know what I'm doing? I get paid fortnightly, so I've just sorted the car out, and I literally get paid on the Friday. And then I'm going to sort the hotel.
Oh my god!
You find it, I'll probably end up in Airbnb or something. To be honest, like, you know, I don't drink or anything, so it'll all be good. Like, you know, whatever happened to where I am, if I got to drive 10-15 minutes away, I'll be grand. Like, you know, hopefully we're in the same hotel or not far. Like, you know, because it'd be good to meet up in the morning. You got the day off on the Monday, yeah?
I have, mate. Yes, I've got Friday off purely to make up for any lost time with family, and then I've got the day off. I did tell my manager at work, if shit hits the fan or anything, I'm happy to change my holiday into a half day and go in the afternoon. But she said, "Nah, you've booked it off. You just have the full day. Don't worry about it." So, yep,
here's
got the full day off after.
How many people know what you're doing?
What, in terms of like people in my life?
Yeah.
Well, I've not worked at this job very long, but there's a couple of people who've seen pictures of my miniatures. Oh, and I did find out actually the other day. I had an issue with my computer at work, so I sent a service ticket to the IT guy, and he came down, and he just ended up talking about like I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something that made me go, "Oh," and I just went, "Do you collect and paint Warhammer?" He went, "Yeah." I went, "Me too." And that were it. My computer stayed broke for about 40 minutes while we just talked about Warhammer. So yeah, there's a couple of people. My missus knows. My missus is really supportive. Like, bless her, she does her absolute best at looking interested in all this sort of stuff. Despite it probably boring her to tears. But yeah, my mum and dad, they know. But again, it's so like out of their boundaries of what they consider to be entertaining. So half the time, like, whenever I mention out about it, my mum will just say, "Oh, he's on about his models." It's like, yeah.
It's like I find it fun. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, you know, I remember it was a real taboo when I was younger. Now I'm to an age where I don't really care, because it's I got guys who I work with, and I've been chatting to them about it, and they kind of take the mick at me about it. But a load of them do like airsoft and stuff, and I'm like, okay, cool. So you do like.
Oh my god! So we can't play army on a tabletop, but you can run around a fucking forest.
But I said, so what? You do LARP airsoft? They're like, no, we do airsoft. I said, no, you do LARP airsoft. They're like, no, it's airsoft. I said, do you dress up in a uniform? Well, we use camouflage, isn't it? I was like, yeah. Do you say you're from an army? Well, I said, do you pretend to be like a support gunner, a sniper, you know, an assault? Do you work in teams? Do you have radios? Do you actually try and follow the rules? Do you do missions? They're like, yeah. It's like, it's LARPing all day long. And just because you're not throwing spells around that don't exist. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is pretty cool what you do and stuff. It's like, don't take the mick out of me for painting miniatures. I said, what are you doing tonight? I said, you're servicing your airsoft guns. I said, yeah, it's the same thing, like, you know. So, but yeah, it's
servicing their airsoft guns.
You know, it's giving them a clean, you know, shooting them down the garden.
Oh my
I'm just like,
god!
It's like, do you zone in your airsoft guns? Do you test?
God,
do you test shooting them and stuff? And they're like, yeah. It's just like, well, you have to be able. It's like, all right, cool. All right. It's just, it's to be fair, like, you know,
Jesus Christ.
It was funny. They did a 180 on it then when I kind of went on and on about it, and they're like, all right, and then you kind of go, do you like Star Wars? It's like, yeah. Do you like this? It's like, yeah. Do you know? It's like other people who watch TV shows, you know. I could go on about this. Like, when you got people going like, can't believe you do Warhammer. I'm like, yeah, but did you watch Game of Thrones? Loved it. I'm like, we're just playing games with it. It's the same stuff. Did you like Lord of the Rings? Yes,
we just loved it that much. We wanted to play it.
Yeah, and some of them, don't get me wrong, some of them surprise me, and they get really in depth with questions, ask you questions. I'm like, oh, you're actually interested? I'm like, yeah, love it. So, but yeah, it is funny. It is funny, isn't it? Like, I tell you what, contrast.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Go on.
I know contrast paint absolutely ruins your brushes, doesn't it? If you don't clean it properly.
Oh god, yeah. If you don't get that fucker washed off immediately, it's toast.
Yeah, no.
But the absolute biggest brush ruiner in all of Warhammer is that little bugger.
What's that?
Typhus corrosion.
Oh yeah.
That's the shit that gives it like a textured rust. So, oh my god, literally, make sure you use a brush that you don't care about if you ever use that, because you're gonna be binning it.
No, I've got
it's
brush.
Awful. It's good. It's fantastic. The finish is great, but it's just an absolute brush destroyer.
I literally just bought new brushes because the ends of mine were split. Just where the contrast and speed paint just goes to the bottom and it dries and spreads them all. Like,
oh yeah.
I just bought soap and everything and stuff. So, but yeah, it's all good. So, but no, it's going to be good fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think, like I said,
absolutely.
Are nobility on Blood Bowl 3 or are they just on Blood Bowl 2? Do you know?
No, they're in Blood Bowl 3, mate. I don't think there was any way they couldn't include them, given the fact that they came in starter box for this edition. To be honest with you,
nice. So yeah, that's all set up. I bought that one, and then I was like, I actually don't know if they're in here. So, but thank God for that.
Yeah, they're in there. Don't worry, they're in there.
No, they're good.
You're safe.
So yeah, no, it's just going to be spending time just playing and playing. The only thing is, when you play those games, the rules are already done, like all the dodge, everything just happens immediately, doesn't it?
Yeah, what I will advise you on is you can open up a little menu that shows you the dice being rolled as opposed to it being done behind the scenes.
Nice, yeah.
It all happens quite fast, so you might find yourself having to like stall the game and have a little read. But yeah, a lot of the dice rolls, such as the weather, casualty dice rolls, kickoff table, things like that. If you didn't already know about them, and you didn't know anything about Blood Bowl, you could quite easily not know they were a thing, because they're just so automated and so quick in video games. So yeah, that's one thing. I think it's down on D-pad on your controller to have it up constantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's worth remembering, because it's quite useful, to be fair.
No, it's what I need. It's literally because I can get games and games and games in. I know I can do that there. That's not a problem. But I need to get the pitch time, for lack of a better word. So, no. Is there anything you're not looking forward to about growing up?
No, not really. I'm expecting it to be Warhammer World itself to be quite busy.
Yeah.
Purely because you got an 80-man Blood Bowl event. Blood Bowl doesn't take up a deal of space, so I would imagine us 80 are going to be cramped off to one side of the gaming hall, which means they're going to still be accepting bookings for the other side. So the shop, Bugman's bar itself, where you can get something to eat and a drink, and the exhibition are probably going to be rammed in between games. Yeah. And busy spaces stress me out like you would not believe. So, that's one thing. But other than that, not really anything I'm not looking forward to. What about yourself, mate?
No, that was literally no open book. Never been there, so it's experiencing it for the first time is what it is. So, like, I am just looking forward. I'm looking forward to actually seeing you. so I'm looking forward to that.
There's that, mate. Oh, let me just offer you a quick tip. Have you heard about in the exhibition how they hide an assassin?
I've heard stuff about this. Yeah.
Yeah, don't waste your time looking for it, mate.
Okay.
Because basically how it works is if you find it and tell a member of staff, you get a copy of that assassin for free to take home.
Okay, yeah.
But the level of effort they have put into hiding it just so they don't have to get out free minis is fucking monstrous, mate. There's people who have gone there and literally spent their entire day stood round the specific exhibition piece it's on, and apparently people, it's again, I don't know if it's one of these urban myths where I was there when it was found once, but I've never known anybody find it.
No, I don't.
Don't get me wrong, it's part of the ritual to at least go and have a little nosy, but yeah, I just won't waste too much of your time.
It's like, Steve, your next game, shut up! I'm trying to find an assassin. I'm going to lose that game anyhow, so I'm going to go look at an assassin. That should be good. I'm just looking. Yeah, I think I'm just looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting up there, seeing people. Well, seeing Warhammer World. I mean, for years and years, I've been wanting to get up there. So to actually get up there is going to be something for me. So.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. It'll be exciting, that's for sure.
So, have you done any other Warhammer events yourself, then, or
at Warhammer World?
Yeah. Warhammer.
No,
Warhammer Run or Warhammer.
No,
event.
I've never been to a Games Workshop run event ever.
Right.
This is my first. Purely because most of the people that I play with, I've got 3D printed teams and stuff, and I never really wanted to go to big events on my own for a long time because I was still relatively new, getting back into hobby and stuff. Yeah. So I needed someone to come with me, but none of them could play in Games Workshop events because, any of the teams that they would want to take to an event weren't Games Workshop models. So yeah, it's always, for me, it's been third-party stuff, which is why for a little while NAF was appealing, because they've got a massive calendar all up and down country where you can go to stuff that is NAF run. And then that lost its appeal to me personally. Not I'm not saying it's not good for anybody, but just for me. And I went to just literally local game stores putting on between 10 and 30 man tournaments, depending obviously space they've got and stuff. So yeah, I never really got round to doing anything official Games Workshop, and then when I saw Bugman's were coming up, I thought, got to have a little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, no, to be fair, I think there's another one coming up later in the year, isn't there? So I want to see. The thing is, I'll be honest with you, I want to see how this goes. If I enjoy the event, regardless of my position's going to be lower half of the table, whatever it is, I'll be glad if I don't get last. So, I'm not aiming too high, but the thing is, I'm not saying I'm used to, but I've been to places where I'm I expect to get I get whooped, and I still put in a good show, don't get me wrong, this week is going to be, Blood Bowl every evening, every night, playing as many games as possible, and I know when I get in there, like we said before in the podcast with Drew, you don't play to lose, obviously you play to win, everyone plays to win, so, I'm going to I'm gonna be competitive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna, and even at the worst case, I can stop being whitewashed or make it difficult for them. That's what I'll do. It's if I can't score it, I'm just gonna make it a hard game for them. That's the way.
Just fucking frustrate the life out of them.
Yeah. So no, it's that. But I mean, the thing is, I'm still gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna enjoy myself, and if it does go, if I'm I actually really enjoyed that, and there's the other one coming up, I will enter it, with a name of hopefully winning, or doing better and better, it's that kind of thing, So it's definitely. I mean,
go on, mate.
I was going to say this is not the team I would choose personally, but obviously because I've set myself this challenge, this is the team I'm choosing.
Yeah.
You know, I've been looking at the elves. I've been looking at all of those guys, like, you know. So, but I'll see. We'll see how it goes, because everything at the end of the day, I found with board game, and it all comes down to a roll of the dice. And sometimes it doesn't matter how good of a team you're playing against. If that dice rolls just one the wrong way, you know, the game can go any way, can't it? Like, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
With your limited experience, well, I tell you what. Let me word this differently. So, with everything combined, about Blood Bowl that you've been exposed to, whether that's the minis, the community, the game itself, up to this level. I know we've spoke about the exposure in some areas hasn't been a lot.
mm-hmm.
Where do you think, based on all the exposure you've had now and any knowledge you've got now, in terms of like games you would play again or on order of priority to play, where do you think Blood Bowl at the minute? In fact, we'll ask you this now because it's pre-event. Where do you think it would fall out of the games that you currently play in terms of what you like, you know, what order you would want to play stuff in, that you'd choose to play?
So at the present moment, I mean, I know Lord of the Rings is top at the moment because I just know the game inside out, and that's enjoyable game to play purely because I know it, you know. So it's got the enjoyment to that. However, Blood Bowl, from what experience I have with it, I've always just been keen to get on and play a game, and I definitely know that even if I get beat every single game, because of my sport background, I've played for not great rugby teams before and spent half of the season getting beat, but I keep turning up to play again. Because with this kind of game, it is learning your team, it's learning the tactics on it. And I think, to be honest, right now it's definitely going to be, you know, in my head, I'm not, you know, I want to enjoy myself is the thing, and I'll go out there with a mindset to enjoy myself, and I won't let anyone upset me or go the other way. If I do end up with a tricky opponent or whatever, it will be what it'll be, and I'll move on. Like, you know, I'll probably never meet that person again in my life. Like, you know, but I don't think it will stop.
Absolutely.
I don't think it will stop me from playing the game. Like, you know, so no, I think it's definitely going to be one that I will be playing again, and because of just the way it is a quick game, you know. And if I can get people to play it, that's now the challenge on my end, is getting other people to play it so I can play it more, you know. So I think right now, as long as I don't have a bad experience per se, I think I definitely will be. Yeah, it's going to be one that I will play again. Like,
see, that's good. We like player retention because, as you know, Blood Bowl's a small game.
Yeah.
So the more player retention we get, the better.
The thing about it that I like, and what's drawn me to the game full stop, is you paint a team, and even just straight out of the box, 20 quid, not 20 quid, 30 quid, you've got a team, you know, and you can take them many places. And because of the improvements as you gain, so obviously this isn't going to be one that you gain improvements, you buy the skills and we go in and play the 3 games. But if you go into a league, you know, and you can buy and change and swap players, like, you know, or you can improve your players with skills and stuff, you know, it's still a relatively cheap to get into game, you know. And from, you know, if I was to be honest, if I sat down and painted this team from start to finish, you know, every evening, a couple of hours a night, you know, I would have my team painted in a week, you know. And I'll be playing, you know, and then, you know, if I'm in a league or tournament, I don't need to do anything much. And if I do buy an extra player or a new player, obviously depending where we are, generally speaking, if it's playing the league, I can get it 3D printed. I can paint that player within an evening, and then I'm going, like, you know. So it's to me, you know, it's a quick, easy game to get into, and yeah, I think it's going to be that's what drew me to the game, and I think also, because it's quick and easy, I'll learn things. I guarantee from my first game to my last game, when I'm up there, I will have learned things, and my tactics will have changed massively because I would have learned things about my team. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting, like, you know. So,
and I would like to think that you will learn something
what was
from
your first
other players, like some gracious players.
Yeah.
Go on, mate. What do you say? What my first buddy? Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
What was your first kind of tournament thing that you entered? How did you do in it? Like, you know, how did you fare?
Oh, my first one was very, very small. I think it were 12 people.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'd been playing Blood Bowl for 18 months. No, I started playing Blood Bowl at the beginning of 2022, like the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? No, it can't be. It can't be. It's got to be earlier than that. Maybe the beginning of about April 2021 actually.
Yeah.
And I think I played in my first tournament in about October 2022. So I'd been playing Blood Bowl about 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'd won 2 leagues in a local game shop with my Wood Elves, 2 back-to-back. I'm not trying to like be big-headed, but out of me and the group of there's a group of people who played Blood Bowl back then were even smaller than it is now. I very rarely lost, but it were against the same group of people. So that doesn't really speak too much to my abilities. It just maybe means that not much changed in us group hierarchy. And I thought there was a local game shop that's about 20 minutes away. We're like, we're going to do a 1-day 3-round tournament. I think they were aiming for 20 people, but given the fact that they advertised it quite short notice, I think they only got 12. I won all 3 games without conceding a single touchdown, and only got 2 casualties, which as Wood Elves is no mean feat. And so I won my last game because it were 2.5 hours per round.
Yeah.
I scored 4 touchdowns by the second turn of the second half, and my opponent conceded. And the guy running the tournament literally stopped other people's games halfway through and said, "Right, pause a minute. I'm just going to give Harry his prize now." I'm just going to give Harry his prize now because by the end of the second round, he was already 12 points clear by my scoring, and there's nothing anybody can do at this point to catch him. So I literally left the tournament and drove home while people were still playing their last games.
So no.
But what you've got to realise, though, mate, is for 18 months straight, the only game I didn't play any other game at this point. I wasn't even playing Dungeons and Dragons. Any time I had for gaming were all Blood Bowl. Any time that I wasn't gaming and I were on my Xbox, I were playing Blood Bowl. I lived and breathed Blood Bowl for the first 18 months and then entered a tournament. So, for yourself, who sort of got back into hobby and is being a little bit of a jack of all trades, like, you said your main game's Lord of the Rings, but you've dipped your toe into a few other bits, like, and you're a very busy man. You're like, I personally, I think I'm probably going to be mid to slightly above mid table for Bugmans. And like I said, with a couple of gracious opponents and a little bit of luck, there's absolutely no reason yourself could get mid. Like you might surprise everybody, but you might fucking win it.
Can you imagine? Like this has been just a whole Pandora, is it? Look, not panorama. Like, I'm completely undercover, completely. I'm like an ace, the best Blood Bowl player. And you're just like, what the hell? I'm just like, I don't know, Baz. I don't.
It's just the dice.
You're just like, I don't know.
Brilliant.
I know. And the thing is, it's again, I think, if I spend a good week on it, I will get my head into it. I know I will. And I'll, I do not, sorry, coughing everywhere. I'm competitive, so, and I don't like to lose per se. But yeah, I'm going to go hard at it. I am. And see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's best way to go, mate. Go hard or go home, as they say.
That's it. It'll be good. It will. Okay. Just checking. I started painting players that I don't need. I got distracted. I was just like, no, I don't need all of these. Because it's 5 linemen. Yeah, I got to get all the linemen.
So where are we at? What have you got painted and what needs to be painted? Is your ogre done?
No. The ogre's going to be my last one. That to me is going to be a one evening sitting. this week. So I'll sit down and spend the evening on my ogre because there's a lot on him, and I want to get him. I want to get him nice. I do. I've got a blitzer and I've got a bodyguard painted already. But right now I'm just leathering them up, getting all the leather done. There's just all the base coats, just blocking all the colours in, and then the one thing I like doing is just I've always liked doing it is mix up skin tones and stuff. So I have white, then tanned, and then black skin as well. I like having all the skin tones in there because when you got a kit, it's all.
See, I don't ever paint black skin purely because I'm terrible at it, and I'm always scared that it's going to look like an old-fashioned racist cartoon.
I'm just going to say Little Britain.
Yeah, like one of them. Yeah, you know exactly what I mean. Like those ridiculously offensive cartoons from 1930s and 20s or whatever. I'm absolutely terrified. Like when I got my Amazon team, I thought, no, these powerful women, they should all be black. So I bought all the right skin tones. I tested everything, and I did one hour like, oh my god, that's so offensive, and repainted them.
No, I got okay. I've got the human team, and I mixed up the colours in there. And even when I've got all my other armies and forces and stuff, I just do I mix it up. I do, but the only reason I do it is because I don't know about you, but when you get playing, unless you got anything really distinguishing about them, you forget who your players are or who people are on the. So when I got different colours, I name them to suit and everything like that. So just a bit easier for me to remember. And I'm very thematic with my lot, So I know I'm going to fall in love with a couple of players who just by dice roll did all right, and then suddenly they're the best players out there. There's no difference in them to the other 4 other linemen that are out there, but no, that's the one. That's the one who's going to do it.
Hey, you just reminded me onto something. Are you aware that for Bugmans you will need your team numbered?
Oh, yeah, and I always number them anyhow, so I do. I'm not sure if you can see.
I'm only saying it because you would be surprised. Oh, yeah. You would be surprised just how many people don't number the players, and it's like and when you try to explain to people that don't number them why it's important, they don't seem to get it. I'm like, no, because you've got 2 war dancers there. Yeah. One of them, you've given one of them this skill and another one that skill. If they're not numbered, you could just tell me that's any of them, like to your advantage. Like, we need to know what player has what skill.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. I know that would insult. That would annoy me. That would, the other thing that annoys me, I like miniatures being painted, and I hope it is. I don't know, it won't be the case. Everything's got to be battle ready, so they say, isn't it? Well, I like to say pitch ready here, But it's it's when they write on the bases or don't put the numbers on the player but put on the base, but you can't see the back of their base, and it's not on the front. Do you get me when it's just not clear as day, and it's just come on,
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So hopefully there's none of that. So is there a meta? Obviously, Wood Elves are pretty. I say meta. Is there a meta team in?
So in Blood Bowl, we have the tier system. It does change from time to time. When they release erratas, sometimes there might be a change at end to say, this team is now this tier, this team's now that tier. But very little changes about actual teams in Blood Bowl. It's more what makes a team change tier can sometimes be a rule change within the core rules that team directly interacts with or relies on, might then make them worse, or if it means they interact with that rule better now, that might mean they move up. But yeah, there's kind of a meta. And another thing that we use as meta as well, but it's more unofficial because Games Workshop don't offer it, is, pretty much the same thing they do that Games Workshop do with 40k, where you see the win rate.
Yeah.
Literally the meta list. NAF and some other independent or third-party organisations, they post their own of that. Mm-hmm. And, that some of them are very different from one another purely based on, I'm assuming, location around the world. Maybe some teams are popular one place than others. But if you look at them all, you can kind of get a rough idea of what teams are being taken a lot of tournaments and then winning while they're there. But yeah, I don't think nobody really cares much about meta in Blood Bowl.
Nice.
Because any good tournament or any good league commissioner will always, for example, if somebody takes Ogres, which are a tier 3 team, which sounds ridiculous because you get to take 6 Ogres that are strength 5, but the other half of your team is strength 2 Nobblers, so, it's really balanced out. So they're a tier 3 team, generally accepted that they are a worse team than, like, a tier 1 team, such as Wood Elves. But, like I say, any good tournament organizer or league commissioner will have organised a way for lower rated teams to get a handicap. Like this Bugman's Belter, that's exactly what they've done. I've got a tier 1 team, so I've been able to distribute. So I got 6 skill points to spend. Now you can spend skill points on skills, or you can use a chunk of them to get a star player or anything like that. But I've chose to give out 6 primary skills to my Wood Elf players. Your team is tier 2.
Yeah.
You get 8 skill points, so you can give out 8 primary skills, or 4 secondary skills because they cost twice as much, or you can get a star player. And then you've got your tier 3 teams who were at 10. So that's it's kind of a way to sort of like even the odds. And like in my own leagues and stuff, I take it to the absolute extreme. Like I want somebody who has had the balls to turn up with a tier 3 team knowing everyone else is playing 2 and 1. Sometimes I'll even just like straight up just give them money in the treasury to start off with, like, oh yeah, you get this much, and everyone else is like, oh, I'm like, well, you should have picked a tier 3 team then, bitch.
No, it's no. I think that's the thing that I do need to. I'm going to have to spend some time because I'm reading through the rules, and obviously my players have certain rules that they can pick and stuff. And obviously, I need to be able to pick stuff. I just want to. I think the team that is going to be playing and how we're going to play. Me. Yes, me and my 10 voices inside my head. But the team how I'm going to play it is going to be. I just want them to be, at the bare minimum, just tricky off the bat. Like, that's the kind of thing. I just want it to be a bit like, okay, I need to kind of watch out here, just to make someone second think before they make decisions. Like, although, yes, I'm.
Yeah.
And they could probably completely wipe the floor with me, like, but, obviously the thing is like yourself, like you already, if you went up against my team, you probably already got a tactic in your head, how you play, like, you know how to set yourself up and how you go, like,
Yeah, that's it. And like, that's just something that comes with time. You play against a team enough, most of the time, losing against a team is exactly what you need to be able to figure out how to stop it from happening again. Because if you've lost against them, you clearly saw what they were good at, and then if you know what they're good at, you can say, right, here's how we fucking stop them being good at that next time.
That's it. I mean, the thing is, the game was quite nice about it is like it being a sport game is like, as long as no one does, what was that thing you were saying in your podcast, or I can't remember now, where they hold on to the ball and don't score, just kill time.
Oh, stalling.
Yeah, so they haven't said anything about stalling in this, have they? So I assume it's just accepted.
No, it will be. It's a totally valid tactic. It's in the rule book. Although it doesn't actually say this is a valid tactic, the fact that they even like outline what stalling is means that they acknowledge it. I see now. The thing for me is it very much depends on who I'm playing against.
Yeah.
If I'm playing against a buddy and we're playing nice and casual, I've literally said the phrase before, I'm not going to be a dick, I'll just score. Like, literally as soon as my turn starts and I know I'm within range to score, I'll score. However, there has been times, like when me Wood Elves were in contention for a second league champion 2 seasons in a row, I was like, no, fuck this, I've got all this ball, I'm killing time. And I just literally passed it from one end zone or one sideline to the other between me 2 throwers constantly. We as dwarves running in between them for like 3 or 4 turns. Yeah, for like 3 or 4 turns. And then when I knew that like there's no way he's going to be able to score with this many turns left, because obviously the dwarves are quite slow, I was like, yep, fuck it, I'm going to score now. So yeah, there's a time and a place for it, and I think it's very much about like reading the room. You can kind of tell if the player that you're playing against is going to be unhappy with it. But I think when I run leagues and stuff and tournaments, I always just say from the beginning, this tournament is going to be recognizing stalling. If you're not okay with that, then don't play.
Yeah.
Like, people are well within the right to use that tactic. So if you're going to be the type of person who's going to get angry about it, then please don't play.
Yeah. Well, no, it's completely. No, I wasn't saying it in the sense of like I'm going to get upset, but it'll be one of those ones where like I hope that it's played. That whoever I play, we play in the sense that they're like, right, calm down the end score, let's get back, reset again, like, off we go. Don't get me wrong, I've even played rugby games.
Yeah, and they. Go on, mate.
Sorry, I was saying, like, even in my time, I've played rugby games where we have got down the other end of the pitch, or like, we've got possession, and we're enough points ahead, but we, it's hard to make a push through, so we've literally been slowing down the rucks and slowing down, so it is, it's complete, is play, like, we've had the ball at the back of a ruck and we've held it as long till the ref tells us to move the ball, so I've done all those tactics in my time, so I get it, I do get it. I just hope that the people I do play with will get it so we can reset again and keep playing game, like, that's it. So, because, I mean, the only thing about this, there's nothing to win out of this one, is there?
Well, it's funny you say that, because it does mention something about prizes in that league document. It says that prizes will be on offer as per the prizes and rewards section of the matched play guide. But I looked in my matched play guide, and it doesn't actually specify what they are.
Yeah.
So it's it's very cryptic on Games Workshop's behalf. So that's either a good thing or a bad thing, because it means the prizes might be quite good and they want to keep it under wraps, or the prizes are going to be fucking shit.
I'll be like, we got a certificate, you can write your own name on it, and you get a laminating sheet, but we won't laminate it because we after office hours, so you have to laminate it yourself. But we'll give you the sheet to do it with.
Here's a voucher for a free bottle of water from the Bugman's bar.
I mean, I can imagine it. It'll be good.
God.
But it's like when you play tournaments and stuff, you've won. It's teams have normally been the thing you've won, isn't it?
Yeah, generally for the smaller stuff, it's usually winner gets a team of the choice, and things like that. And when we've had second place, where it's been like they get to, I don't know, get a star player or an ogre or a troll. So £30 for the winner, and essentially like somewhere in between £15 to £20 for runner up, and things like that. But yeah, like I say, I don't think I've ever, in any of the ones I've played in, gone and thought, right, I'm here to win this because of prize. Like, it really is just about like the day out, and the best thing for me is coming away from something like that and being able to see where I'm at, what I need to improve on, things like that. But for me, like, it's centered around having fun, having a good day, and I'm not afraid to admit that sometimes having a good day or a bad day, for me, the type of person I am, is sometimes determined by whether I win or lose.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've said to you before, mate, when we've spoke, like, I'd like to think that no matter how much it's pissed me off to lose sometimes, that my opponent is never, ever aware of it, because I like to remain, cordial and polite.
Yeah.
But yeah, just more of an internal anger.
I mean, the thing that's quite cool, I mean, that'll be one thing for me as well. Like, we got the Super Bowl afterwards, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've never, ever watched a full NFL game. So it'll be interesting having someone who actually knows the sport, because I think the one thing why I haven't watched it or fully got into it is I don't fully understand it. I get it, but I don't get it. Do you get me? Like, it's... So yeah. I can get excited by something if I understand more the thinking to something. So when I've watched the games...
Yeah.
I've watched it being like, I don't really know what's going on, and it's kind of annoying me because it keeps stop-starting, like, But then also, the thing is...
Go on.
But no, it's that. But the thing is, there's full reason behind it, and then you have plays. Everything's by the plays, like, you know. So everything by the positioning and everything else. I understand there's reasons behind it, but I don't know who does what. So I'm just there, like, I don't get it. I don't know.
So let me give you a little bit of insight. So I played American football for 3 seasons for a local team, and I played left tackle, which is basically, do you know that big wall of meat in front of the quarterback that stops him from getting smashed to pieces?
Yeah.
I was on the very end of that. So it was my job to stop edge rushers from getting round and smashing the quarterback to pieces. And when you play American football, no matter what position you play, you literally, and this, I'm not even joking, you literally have to learn a made-up language. Seriously. So that everything in the playbook is coded to this language, so that when you are set up and ready to snap, if your quarterback sees something in the opposing player's defense that isn't good for the play that you originally said you were going to play, he can audible it out to the rest of the team in code without telling the opponents what they're changing to.
Yeah.
So, just a quick one. So it would say an animal. If it was an animal that flies, it were going to be a passing play. If it were an animal that walks on land, it were going to be a running play. And then we had north for left side and south for right side, which is just fucking totally backward. Then there would be then he would call out a multiple of 2, meaning it were actually 1, 2, or 3. So if he said 2, it meant he'll be snapping the ball on 1. If he said 4, he'd be snapping the ball on 2. If he said 6, he'd be snapping the ball on 3. And then sometimes it'd just drop in a colour, and that would just we knew that colour just meant that it would just to like trick the opponents into thinking he were changing something bigger than it actually was. And then like there's a lot to it. And see, I always tell people that you can't be stupid and play American football. This is why, like, it's, you know, people in America, you see, like, they have to do well at school to get to colleges that will eventually get them to NFL, because you really can't get away with just being physically talented. There's got to be an element of, like, intelligence there as well, because there's just so much going on.
I know. I mean, we had obviously got similar in the lineouts, and we had a couple of plays. But no, I get you. Like, you know, but that makes it interesting, because I just hear numbers and I'm like, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. And thing is, I watch NFL now, and I hear quarterbacks audibly like left 23, red, right, and I'm just like, I haven't got a fucking clue what he's saying, because that's that team's language, that's their playbook. It can mean anything.
And the thing is, it changes all the time as well, doesn't it? It has to change. It has to keep, you know, no one knows.
Exactly. We once played against a team who, so not only does your quarterback audible to the rest of his team to change, the defense will audible as well if they've noticed something that they need to change to accommodate for. And we once played against a team, I think they were down your way, actually. I forget what they were called. They were down that part of the country. And anyway, we were all lined up and set. And obviously, in American football, like, all you can see is that, like, just through them. And, like, just all I can see is some guy's feet in front of me with his hand up floor, ready for us to just smash into each other. And I just hear one of his linebackers behind him audible in, "Porn star, porn star, porn star." And we're all like, what the fuck does porn star mean? We were all looking at each other like, what the fuck?
I love shit like that.
Yeah, we've had some crazy stuff. Like we've had sausage roll.
How to make something American so British? Greg's corners,
beef Wellington. Yorkshire tea bags.
No, so I'm to be fair, that's another thing I'm looking forward to, is actually watching something and actually getting the chance to pick someone's brains who understands it. Because, like I said, it's again, I enjoy sport. I've always enjoyed sport, and when I get to understand the sport, I enjoy it more. So,
mate, you are exactly the same as me, and there's only one example I've got where no matter how much I understand it, I can't get on with it, and that's cricket. That's the only one I can't do.
See, cricket, I understand. I just don't enjoy it.
No. Like, so I'm one of them people, me, where if I'm flicking through television and there's a sport on, if I watch it for long enough to be able to understand what's going on, I will start to really enjoy it. Yeah. Tennis, I don't like tennis. I don't like tennis at all. But when Wimbledon's on, if I'm flicking through channels and I stay on it for more than 10 minutes, I'm invested. I'm like, oh, fucking hell, they're going to lose this lead here.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I completely, like, I mean, I'm a rugby player through and through. I'm not a big fan. I used to watch the football when I was younger, and then everyone started diving around, hence I went to rugby. But again, if the footy's on, I'll stick it on, and then I'll be invested watching the entire game, like, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I like understanding how things are, even to the point I remember once spending about an hour watching what's that one when they're in squash? Just like I figured out how it was, and I was watching it, and I was at the gym just watching these guys keep playing squash, and I was just totally invested watching it, like, And then people were like, "Would you play it?" No, I haven't got a clue how, but I know what's going on. So. And I'm quite happy watching you guys play, like, But yeah, it's that kind of thing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. But yeah, American football for me. I mean, I grew up playing rugby.
Yeah.
I'm from a rugby village. Like, it's the main sport here as opposed to football. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a big Leeds United fan as well, so football's a thing, but rugby was like the main sport. And I played it up until being about 14. And literally one night, I had an ear infection, and you know yourself, if you ever had an ear infection, it's just impossible to sleep when you've got it. And I went downstairs, I put on the telly, and it was the New England Patriots versus the Washington Redskins. And I was like, oh, this is American football, from films. You always see it in films.
Yeah.
And I started to watch it, and as I was watching it, I started to get a bit of a grips for what was going on. I was like, oh, wow, this is all right. And I remember saying to myself, right, whichever team loses this game, I'm going to support, because I don't want to be a glory supporter. So Washington Redskins, as they were called then, beat the New England Patriots, and then New England Patriots went on to have like a 20-year dynasty of winning everything. So, like, trying to convince people for years that I weren't like just a glory supporter, like, no, seriously, I picked them because they lost.
That was the game. That was the night. I know the score. I know everything. No, it's no. I look forward. I look forward to it, because it's funny, because my brother's into it. He loves it, and I think every time I've tried to watch it with him, he's not the best at explaining stuff. So it's just like, I don't get this. I'm getting annoyed. I don't get this. Like, I'm there, like, they make a break, they make a run. I'm like, I love it. And he's been, okay, we stop again. Okay, what's happening now? Well, they're changing players. And why are they doing that? Like, why don't they, But,
so do you know the one fundamental reason why play stops all the time?
No, I don't. That's it.
The reason is that the clock only runs down when the ball is actually in play.
Okay.
So when do you know how, like, in rugby you have your tackles?
Yeah.
It's literally like that, but between tackles, they stop the clock and reset to do another play.
Yeah. Okay.
It's literally that. They only ever have the clock running when the ball is in play. If it goes off the pitch, the clock stops.
Mm-hmm.
So in that aspect, it's good, because it's fair that, you're only ever playing when the ball is actually in play.
Yeah.
But for untrained viewers, I can appreciate just how fucking boring it is.
But it's the thing is, it's just one of those things. I'm like, because I don't know what goes on because when it stops, a lot of stuff is going on, and when I don't know.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is not knowing what that other stuff that's going on is what is frustrating. Whereas if I know what's going on, because I'm a tactical person, I understand tactics, like, So I know everything else that's going on is tactical decisions, like, and, if I can get my head around that, then I'm like, yep, I'll be sold on it. Do you get me? Like, but
Yeah.
where I don't know what's going on, I'm just a bit like, they're talking, he's done something, who is he? What's he doing? I'm like, what's going on here? And even my brother, I don't think fully understands what's going on. And I'm just like, I don't get this. Like, this is, where, like, and it's funny because it's like with certain sports, like, it's like trying to explain rugby to my wife. And I'm just like, everyone's got a different role in the game, which is like, they're all tackling us. No, it's that kind of thing. But the one thing, like with rugby, it just keeps running, like, so, no matter what, it kind of blends and it just, it's easier to watch. Because it is literally
it's got a fluidity that American football hasn't.
Yeah, but
America sacrifices its fluidity for tactics and trying to outsmart your opponent. And I'm not saying you can't do that in rugby. I'm just saying that American football leans into that 10,000%.
Yeah, but that's the thing. As soon as I can understand that, I know I'm going to be like, yep, I get the sport. Now I can start to enjoy it. Like, But so yeah, what's going to happen is you're going to be explaining a lot. You'll probably be like, shut up, Steve. I'll be like, Baz, is that me now?
No. I listen. I love it, mate. I've the amount of people I've like had to sit next to and say, right, so here's what's happening now. As you can see, defenses lining up in this formation, so quarterbacks reading where linebacker, and they're like, what?
No, that's the thing. Is as soon as I get my head around it, I'll be like, yep, now I can understand the game. Now I can begin to enjoy it, like, because it's like
Yeah.
that the Welsh guy's left the Welsh rugby. He's gone over there to play it. I've been invited several times to play, but I'm just like, I don't understand the sport, so I'm not going to play it yet. I mean, the thing that gets me is how brutal the tackles are. Like, rugby is hard, but, you're taught to tackle well. Like, but in American football, they're clotheslining each other. Like, that's one thing I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I can, as somebody who's played, obviously not at a fucking level even close to NFL, but as somebody who's played, the reason for that is 100% all the armor and the helmet and stuff. It makes you feel invincible to the point where you take risks that you wouldn't take if you weren't armored up, and that is why there are a lot of people in America campaigning to have all the padding removed, because as daft as it sounds, they feel like that will actually reduce the amount of like concussive related like problems in later life.
Yeah, it's funny because they're doing a whole thing right now with rugby, because there's a big thing about rugby and head contacts and stuff like this. And when I was coaching, there was a big thing about it. Like, so I remember when I was younger, and I took some concussions when I was younger, but I was back playing, 2 days later. Where now, like, there's a whole a long time before you can get back to play, is to get back into it, and it makes sense. And the reason being is they're talking to, there's people in the English rugby team who won the Rugby World Cup. They can't remember playing that game. They can't remember the game. They can't remember any of it because of what they endured, which I thought was mad when someone first said it to me. And then as it's gone on, I'm like, geez, that wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, literally, I don't know if have you watched Inside the Mind of a Killer on Netflix?
No, not yet. No. It's on my list.
Oh, mate, get it watched. The guy it follows, and it is about actually played for the American football team. He played for Patriots.
Yeah.
And he wore, and it feels awful to say given what we know now, but he were amazing. Yeah. He was so good. And it turns out that like all these concussions they say it can alter your judgment and things like that. Yeah. So he'd got involved in like, criminal stuff, and ended up killing people, shooting them and like stuff. It's fucking mental, mate. But the most shocking part of that entire documentary is they showed you a cross-section of the guy's brain, obviously, because he ended up hanging himself in prison. Fucking hell, this has took a really dark turn, hasn't it? Fucking hell, we were talking about going to a fucking tournament to play with little men, and now we're talking about suicide. But yeah, anyway, he ended up hanging himself when he found out that he were going to be, found guilty for crimes and stuff. So obviously on autopsy, they did a cross-section of his brain.
Yeah.
And in this documentary, they put it next to a cross-section of a 95-year-old man with late-onset dementia and Alzheimer's. And his brain looks worse than the dementia patient's.
Jesus. Wow.
Honest to God. In fact, when we get off here, I'll send you the picture. It's fucking wild, mate, honestly.
But it's mad, isn't it? Like, it's realising all the dangers and everything with the sport, like, of all the sports, like, because it's, again, with like American football, those tackles are brutal, like, it's like rugby looks like it's brutal, but it's all control. You're taught to control your tackle. You have to do certain things a certain way, like,
Yeah.
and you can't do certain things. You're straight off if you do the wrong way. So don't get me wrong. I've had some interesting tackles done to me in my time. Like, I've been on the wrong end. I've been speared. I've been dropped on my head. I've done everything. Like,
Yeah.
I've gone down and woken up on the sideline. Like, so I've had that stuff happen. But it's been coincidental or just it's only happened once in the game or once in the blue moon. Like, So, but yeah, I know.
Yeah.
With American football, like I see some of the tackles go in, and you're like, whoa, that's gonna hurt.
Oh, mate, honestly, mate, and I think the scariest thing about it is that, whether you believe it or not, is that in the last 10 years or so, they've actually fucking clamped down on it to make it a bit more strict. Like, they've. To be fair, to the credit, they really have reacted well to like the helmet-on-helmet contact, because some of those are fucking terrifying. Like, when you see, I don't know if you will have seen it playing rugby, surely, but when somebody gets hit in the head hard and they're on the floor and like all the fingers tense up funny like that. Oh, man.
Oh, no, that's been me. That's happened to me. I've gone down and they said, like, I had one leg that was rigid up in the air, like, and people were running and pushing. Still, the game was going on, and my leg kept flicking up in the air, like, and I was on the ground, like, and, ref stopped the game, I get taken off, game goes on again, like, and then it was back then, like, that was a bad concussion I had. I got St. John's ambulance going like, oh, yep, you've been concussed, blah, 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 got to monitor yourself. Done all of that, and then like 3-4 days later, I was back playing again. Where now I wouldn't be allowed to play for a month, which is
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's those contacts which are they do happen, and it's and they're bringing these rules into Blood Bowl, I hear.
Well, technically, Steve, because we're going to be watching the Super Bowl at the end of the day, this is still on topic.
And that is where we'll end today's episode, guys. I appreciate the ending probably seems a little bit abrupt, but sadly, Steve's computer absolutely shat itself and it shut off, meaning that I was sat talking to myself for a couple of minutes, which I'm sure you would love to hear because of how insane it would make me sound. But I cut it out, so kind of an abrupt ending. And as I say, this was an impromptu episode, so forgive any lack of professionalism or structure, as I said at the beginning. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one.